I want to read something from my mom's book that Susie Tate called Memories of Manteo. And it's just a little recap of a lot of the stories that Mom used to love to tell. And this one's called Andy, a Good Daddy. Andy Griffith's children, Dixie and Sammy, were both in the Lost Colony for several years. That's how we got to see Andy so much. He would come backstage so that he could visit with them and to check on the children. One time I watched Hunt, Marjolaine Thomas' son, and Andy's little boy Sammy playing a trick on another boy. They exchanged his prop for somebody else's in the play. He ran in the dark and grabbed the waiting prop and got into trouble when the director saw him. Andy saw me getting after Sammy and Hunt and said to me, "I know my boy's done something wrong. What is it?" But I said, "If the boys don't straighten out, I'll come tell you. If they apologize, you won't hear about it." And Andy never did. I think that's a sweet story that Mom told, because a lot of people like to talk about Andy. He's a human being, and he can get mad like everybody else, but they didn't see the sweet side of him, and he had a very sweet side.
He was one of her favorites. When she was 12 years old, Daddy got her a beach pony. Ponies ran the beach, and nobody who could rope one, anybody who could rope one could have one. Somebody in Willie Jollife's family tried to train my pony, but no one really got the wildness out of him. One time he threw me over my head and I landed right on my feet. Della Poole, one of my classmates, saw all of that and went to school saying that I was a trick rider. But it was a piece of luck. Most of the time I fell flat on my back when my pony threw me. One Sunday afternoon, I headed for Camille Brinkley's when I met Harold Bruce and Wiley, who were riding big horses. They made fun of my pony, but I raced them and beat. I also told them that I could ride up a big sandhill, and they laughed at me. I had a lot of happy days with my wild beach pony, but I left them standing while I galloped uphill. The Lost Colony, rain or shine. I enjoyed every moment, backstage as well as on stage. When I was in the Lost Colony cast, those were the happiest days of my life. I even enjoyed playing in a storm. It was in our contracts that we would act in rain or shine. If it was raining, we kept playing as long as the audience stayed in their seats. Then the house lights were turned up when it was time for us to stop. One night, old Tom and I made 3 entrances to the parpet, trying to finish a scene. Tommy Hull was acting the part of old Tom. Every time that he started saying the same speech, the house lights would go up as it was raining again and blowing a storm. The guests began laughing, and it was so funny that Tommy began singing a rain song, adding to the merriment. Renee Raines, the costumer, would sit through storms at her sewing machine with rain running through the floor backstage, but it didn't bother her. She is a down-homer, like the rest of us on Roanoke Island. I would go and sit on a bench beside the theater and watch the sound during storms. 2 of the locals who played colonist roles, Cora Twyford and Maxine Peel, would tell me to come inside, that I would go soaking wet and be struck by lightning. Sometimes new cast members became upset and nervous when the rain was beating against us and the wind was blowing hard. One young man came around with a petition saying that we would not act in bad weather. I said to him, "I love a storm. I am as old as your grandmother, and I can do it." That fellow didn't get many signatures on his petition and was blackballed the next year.